This is Alex Jarett with Technology Executives Club and Technology Executives Review with a special report. This is on AI use in nonprofits and charities. I've got with me today Loren Williams, who's in charge of enterprise partnerships in the Midwest for PCs for People. Loren, how are you?
I'm doing great, Alex. Thanks for hosting today.
Yeah, glad to have you here. We got something special we're going to show from you in a minute, but right now we're going to get right into it. This is a special report on how nonprofits and charities are using AI. Let's go through the way we'll do this is we'll go through some headlines. We'll pick one or two to talk about. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, let's do it. I'll just read them real quick. Charity Engine launches Copilot, first voice-driven agentic AI platform for nonprofit fundraising. That seems like a good idea. The Hackett Group SG&A study, nonprofits and enterprises pivot to AI operating models. Interesting. Charity Digital Skills Report, routine AI usage among nonprofit reaches 79%. That's interesting. It makes sense. Everybody in nonprofits trying to squeeze out value from every dollar. Finally, philanthropic funders shift to direct capacity building grants for nonprofit AI infrastructure. All right, which one you want to hit?
I'd say number 3 here.
All right, Charity Digital Skills Report. All right, I'll read that one. Charity Digital Skills Report 2026, routine AI usage among nonprofits reached 79%. What this means, nonprofit teams are aggressively adopting off-the-shelf AI tools for content creation and daily administration. However, while baseline usage is high, a major gap remains in strategic implementation and formal policy training. Nonprofits desperately need clear guidance to move from informal experimentation to secure operational integration. What do you think about all that? You're in a nonprofit. We should tell everybody it's PCs for People. We want people to know about PCs for People. First, tell us real quickly your thoughts on this, and then we'll do something about what you guys do.
I mean, I'm not surprised about the amount of usage. I would say, as somebody who moved into the nonprofit world about 5 years ago,
Yeah.
everybody is wearing a lot of hats and has a lot of demands. And if you can buy yourself back some time, whatever you're doing for the nonprofit, you can get more done, you can contribute more to the mission. And AI certainly seems like a tool to be able to help. And then I think as these things tend to go, individuals figure it out sooner than organizations do in many
Yeah.
cases, is the
Yeah.
second part of what that paragraph said.
Yeah. I think you're right on the money. I don't know if this is a general rule, but people that are working in a nonprofit, you're aligned with the mission for the most part.
Yeah.
Because, it's not just a profit motive, not that people, the ideal thing to me is that you got the both, but I'm an entrepreneur. So it seems to me that if you're that kind of individual, you're working in an organization, you're going to look at a tool like this and say, hey, we can get more done. Let me dig in. So my guess is adoption, this is what it's saying, adoption among nonprofits and charities might actually be higher on the individual level. Is that kind of what you're saying too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because people are so busy they need it. Can we hire somebody to be my assistant? No, we don't have the budget for that. That's
Right.
what the average nonprofit manager is probably thinking. Can we license somebody for a few bucks a month to be my assistant? Yeah, maybe we can afford that, right?
Yeah, I got two or three going down right now. I'm sure a lot of people on this webinar are watching this have two or three going. Use Claude for this, Google AI for this, ChatGPT for that, and I just told you I'm going to get Microsoft Pilot, So, I think you're right. It definitely makes you get more done. It's not shortening my hours though. I want to just be clear about that. And by the way, we talked about that with our CIO group. A lot of the CEOs are saying, where's the beef? Where's the ROI? And a big chunk of that initial ROI is the people that are early adopters are getting really high productivity, but they're not necessarily that productivity is not translating into results to the bottom line yet. That's a very interesting dynamic. So, okay, let's keep moving here. I want to go to the website and I want to show you all a recent interview we had with Loren. I got something posted here because I want to highlight what you guys do in the special report. By the way, if you've got something that you want to highlight, an organization that you run and own and you're interested in that or you're part of, just reach out to me and we can talk and to see if it makes sense for our broadcast. So, anyways, Loren, you work for a company called PCs for People, and you reached out to me. You were on one of our webinars and reached out, say, hey, let's talk. And I said, you know what? I'd like to put you on and just share what you do because I think what you all do, real quick. So, let me play this bit, not this bit, this piece from PCs for People. But before I do, give us one or two sentences about what you guys do.
Um, we take retired corporate computing equipment, we
Yeah.
securely delete all data, and then we refurbish as many computers as we can to redistribute to low-income households, and we keep everything out of landfill.
And that's amazing. But from the corporate side, is there a cost to them?
By and large, it's $0 and 0 cents to get certified data destruction, logistics, e-waste handling, whatever you want to call it.
That's what I wanted to hear because a lot of the people that may watch this could be a technology leader, and you provide on that side of the equation a cost-effective, almost free. I'm not going to say free because there might be a cost involved. Almost free way of correctly and safely disposing of your PCs and other similar equipment because you all take them and you have a need for them, which is to take those PCs and give them to people. And the spot I want to play now is about that young girl, Nina.
No.
If you want to think about what the end goal is of your organization, I'm going to play this bit right here.
We met a young woman, a high school junior named Nia, very smart young lady. She had one of these like third hand computers, like would freeze up all the time. It would boot up, but it would crash all the time. And
Yeah.
she had really, really spotty internet, and she found herself at night sometimes on the steps of the library to try to pick up internet and finish her homework at night.
Oh,
Really motivated.
yeah.
But while a lot of her classmates were starting to look at colleges and planning for college, it just wasn't looking like it was in the cards for her. She found out about PCs for People. She got a newly refurbished laptop and internet hotspot that we also provide at low
Wow.
cost.
Wow.
And then I learned recently she finished her junior year, went through her senior year, and she was able to apply to and get accepted for college.
I mean, that's a win. That's a great story. I wanted to play that story, Lauren, because, you know, for the business side, you all get a great deal. You get a piece of paper that says you did the donation, and it's up to your accountant, your CFO, what you do with that. But on the human side, you really helped this young lady. So that's great.
Yeah, it's very gratifying. And there's just from last year alone, there's 32,000 stories like that.
Really? See, you hadn't told me that stat. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we appreciate what you do. All right, let's get back to the headlines. So here's the next four headlines. OpenAI board expands leadership ahead of community AI grant evaluations. That's interesting. Community support services lead grants for frontline administrative burden reduction. We were kind of just talking about that, and here's some funds for that. NTEN, Nonprofit Technology Network, benchmarking study 68% of nonprofits lack formal AI usage policies and guardrails. The efficiency plateau. Nonprofits report high AI adoption, but lag in measurable impacts. That's what I was just telling you. I'm hearing on the corporate side too. Which one you want to hit?
Yeah, that last one, number 8, I'd like to hear what they have to say about that.
Yeah, let's read it. Okay, I'll read it again. The efficiency plateau. Nonprofits report high AI adoption, but lag in measurable impact. What this means, much like corporate enterprises, nonprofits are hitting an efficiency plateau where time saved on routine tasks doesn't automatically yield higher revenue or mission impact. True impact requires redesigning staff roles and fundraising strategies around AI capabilities. Without deliberate restructuring, productivity gains remain isolated rather than transformative. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that's the case. I think all of us are in that learning stage where we can do a quick task a little bit quicker or a bulky task a little bit quicker, but till
Yeah.
it's really built into the whole workflow, the whole infrastructure, that's when we'll probably see truly measurable gains in productivity.
I couldn't agree with you more. And this is exactly the conversation we had with our virtual peer advisor group, by the way, for Technology Leader. And you are too busy to go to these SIM meetings, which are great, and these other AITP and all these other organizations and conferences. A lot of people are out there that are just too busy. But in our session, we talked about this exact issue, which is, and one of the fellows had a chart that he was measuring efficiency and gains and everything. And he showed this exact thing you just said. You may be doing more work and getting more done, but it's not necessarily translating to the ROI of the actual organization. Now, he did say that once people plateau and reach that point, then it starts to translate into better ROI. And that was very interesting. So I think that I think you'll see it, but I think it has to get into like you said, it has to get into the workflows, has to get into the operation. And I think for some people it is. Like if you're in sales and you're handling more people, let's just say you're handling your pipeline better, you're going to get more sales, right? We had a client, a member of our community from Edward Don, CIO from Edward Don, Tim Walter. He spoke and they picked the right project, Loren. They picked RFP requests, proposals. And so they were able to increase their throughput. They had a good problem. They couldn't handle all the RFPs. So they're literally turning down the smaller ones. And it turned out to be a big win for them. And you can watch it on our website, by the way. Anything else you want to add to that, Loren?
No, I think the other thing is there's probably going back to a whole bunch of individuals are doing something to help them. And I think it's good for managers to find out what some individuals are doing. And if it's effective, build it into everybody else in that role in that organization if it's effective, and then build it into the whole organization. So it's not just these isolated pockets.
I think that's a really deep insight because I remember when the PCs came out, there were always a couple people that were the early adopters, and these people actually rose in the ranks if they chose to share.
Hmm.
And that's the key. If you're one of those people with early adopters, start sharing, start being the advocate internally because it's going to help you help the organization. But I think you're right on. I interviewed somebody the other day, and they actually built. We all hate committees and all this stuff, but they built an AI committee, and people were meeting regularly and doing this kind of thing where they're getting together groups and sharing, and it's just like we did with the internet, just like we did with the PCs. Use those same structures to do it. So I think you're right on the money there. All right, let's keep moving. That's all we have for those headlines. So this has been a special report on AI use in nonprofits and charities. And I want to thank Loren Williams, who's our Enterprise Partnerships PCs for People Midwest advocate. Thank you for being on this special report.
Thanks, Alex.
Appreciate you being there.